Hi and welcome. Hi and welcome to the Opinionated Bitch. I am your fabulous drag queen host, Prince Electro Diamond, who is finally back again. I had to take a break for a while, but I'm so glad to be back and doing this show for you all. And wanted to say that before we go into today's topic, which is corporate corruption in the media. Now, as anyone who's ever seen this show knows, I do not trust corporate media. I honestly don't. Because I feel, how can I trust you when you are taking money from corporations and then are expected in the same breath to report about those same corporations? For example, let's just go with Fox News. This information is from 2018. Their top 10 brands on the Fox News network was Nutrisystem, which gave them $1.9 million, Ozella, which gave them $1.4 million, Jenny Craig, which gave them $806,000, Sleep Number, which gave them $655,000, Indeed, which gave them $587,000, South Beach Diet, which gave them $574,000, Smile Direct Club, which gave them $563,000, Liberty Mutual, which gave them $488,000, Geico, which gave them $469,000, and Inogen, which gave them $450,000. That's just Fox News. The next top 10 brands of one of the big networks was CNN, again, from 2018. Ozella gave them $1.7 million. T-Mobile gave them $938,000. Geico gave them $917,000. Progressive gave them $712,000. Humira gave them $690,000. Nutrisystem gave them $567,000. BMW gave them $511,000. NordVPN gave them $497,000. AT&T gave them $455,000, and GoodRx gave them $444,000. Now, on to the next big one. You've got Fox, you've got CNN, and now you've got MSNBC, and this is from the first quarter of February 2018. Smile Direct Club gave them $640,000. Jeep gave them $450,000. Proactive gave them $379,000. Ozella gave them $318,000. Office Depot gave them $288,000. Cadillac gave them $287,000. Trivago gave them $469,000. Sleep Number gave them $263,000. Humira gave them $261,000. And Omaha Steak gave them $244,000. Now, with all that being said, if any one of these brands has a story where they are caught either frauding people or somehow caught up in a scam where they're involved in like recalls or somehow involved in poisoning people, you think any of these motherfuckers from Fox, CNN, or MSNBC are going to tell you about it? No, because then they won't get their money. It's why some people say that you can't trust the news. You can't trust the news. You can't trust anything that's not independent. If you're not watching independent news or you're not getting your news from outside of America, you cannot trust what you are hearing. Because if that's just the brands, shit, politicians you probably know also take money from these brands that I just listed. So if they're taking the money as corporations who's supposed to report the news, if they're taking money from them, how are you supposed to trust them to make sure that they are guaranteeing to give you news about all of these things? You also can't trust them because corporations are the only ones that take money. as I said, the politicians are also taking money from a lot of these brands and even more brands. These are only in the top 10 brands from each of these news outlets. But imagine that the number of companies that pump money into these companies are a lot more. Shit. Fox, CNN, MSNBC will never do a story about the pharmaceutical industry ripping off people. They will never do a story about how the health insurance companies are ripping off people. You want to know why? Humira. Humira is an insurance company. So you're going to tell me that CNN and any of these other networks are going to sit there and do a story where they're going to say, oh, these people are just jacking up prices on stuff so that they can make more money. No. It's a lot having to do with inflation. Inflation is a lot caused by the motherfuckers on this list along with every other company out there. But you will never hear on any of the three networks, NBC News, ABC News, CBS News, none of them are going to report this shit because they want everything that goes on in Washington and everything that goes on with these corporations to stay the same. They don't ever want to change a fucking thing because as long as they're getting funneled in money, they're going to shut their mouths and only report on the safe stories. They're going to report about Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. I remember watching CNN one time in the year 2021. Joe Biden had already been president for months when I saw this, and it was just a whole easily half an hour of Joe Biden, all these news anchors that were brought on all bashing Donald Trump. It's like, look, I get it. We have to blame Trump for some stuff, but you're the news. You're only holding Donald Trump accountable. Why don't you hold Joe Biden accountable? Because any of those top three networks I said won't report how he was chummying up with the head of Saudi Arabia because that makes Joe Biden look bad. And excluding Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC, that's their whole point, is to make President Biden look like the greatest president ever. They're trying to make him seem like FDR. FDR? Joe Biden being FDR? Get the fuck out of here. No way. FDR was about uniting the country and giving the country social safety nets, such as Medicare and Social Security. Meanwhile, under Biden's watch, Congress is passing laws constantly to try and take away money from Medicare and Social Security. And you've got one party that's doing that, but none of these news outlets are going to report it. You've got the Republican Party who is sitting there voting in Congress to try and take away money that belongs to the senior citizens of this country, the senior citizens and the disabled people who have worked to put money into this system through taxes. So I don't want to hear from anyone about how you should trust any of these fucking news organizations. That is why you shouldn't trust, as I said, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, or NPR, because they're all part of that's it. Well, NPR you can trust sometimes, but the majority of the time, especially NPR, is sitting there trying to give the corporate version of what is actually happening in this country. And I say the corporate version because a lot of times if you watch the news, they'll go after the Republicans. Again, excluding Fox News. They'll go after the Republicans and they'll go after two Democrats. And that is Joe Biden, or no, not Joe Biden, sorry, Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Now you're telling me that two motherfucking people are causing all the problem, and all the other 48 or how many of her are there aren't causing the problem? The math ain't mathin'. It ain't making any sense. But a lot of people say, I watch CNN, I watch MSNBC, and people turn on people to CNN and MSNBC and Fox News. Fuck it. No. No, if I ever found out that anyone I was friends with watched any of these news networks, I would say you are not getting fed the truth. You're getting fed, in Fox News' case, they'll report some stuff, but a lot of the stuff they're reporting is lies. Like, they did break some news stories. I'm not going to lie. They're the ones who were honestly talking for months about the crime in New York and these soft on crime laws about how they're just letting people walk out of prison, people who are mentally disturbed. Now, Fox News is right for reporting that. None of these other news outlets were reporting it. And in truth, their solution is, I will say, defund the police. I understand where people are trying to come from with that. I get that, but you can't defund the police. What the whole focus needs to be towards, in that instance, is we need to put more money into the psychological systems that are used to reform people. So these people shouldn't be locked up in prison. They should be locked up in mental institutions where they will be taken care of. Now, bringing my point back around. So, other than that, Fox News, a lot of times, either they'll blatantly lie or they'll pose the truth in a misleading way to misinform their viewers into believing that certain stuff is happening when it's actually not happening. Like, I would say this, somebody who's not part of that news organization but is also right-wing, is Candace Owens. Candace Owens, who was talking about the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez situation. But in her analysis of that story, chose to, instead of talking about how Tory Lanez was wrong, was trying to blame it all on black culture. What you're doing there is you're not helping. What you're doing is you're putting, you as a black person are sitting there trying to villainize black people for something that one man did. So, with that, you are misleading your viewers. Now, back to this corporate corruption. As I said, it will go to the politicians. So you will hear a lot of times on these networks, you'll hear a lot of times about how Bernie Sanders is a villain because Bernie Sanders doesn't take money from these corporate goons. And somebody like Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer does. And with Nancy Pelosi stepping down in the Senate as the majority leader because, thanks to the Democrats being assholes, the Republicans took over the House and they almost took over the fucking Senate. So what is going to happen probably in these next 2 years, as Joe Biden finishes out his lame duck session, hopefully not planning to run in 2024. And I will say this, Joe Biden, don't fucking run. Because, again, these corporate news media outlets, excluding Fox News again, are going to say that Joe Biden should be the 2024 nominee for the Democratic Party. And my response to that is no. No. Somebody who's done at most 25% of their agenda in 4 years, that's the person you want to rerun? No. And a lot of times, well, corporate media isn't saying this because corporate media is trying to tell you that Joe Biden should run again because apparently the country wants him to run. Why, I don't know. But they want him to run. And the person they're saying, the person that in California believes they're going to run if Joe Biden doesn't get renominated, is Gavin Newsom, the governor in California, who hasn't done a damn fucking thing in California. All he's done is allow corporations to take over and let all of the taxpayer money get funneled into these politicians. Sorry, I misspoke. And not do a damn thing. And that's the person who believes that he's going to get people to vote for him. Now, if he does run, he's going to be heralded. Because CNN and MSNBC are going to be like, Gavin Newsom is the answer to all of our problems. What? I don't say Fox News, because Fox News, please. They're going to sit there for the next 2 years and prop up DeSantis, I guarantee you. But a person who just doesn't do a damn thing, that's who we need back in? What? Seriously? No. No. You can't. Sorry, trying to get this light out of the frame. I won't. And if Gavin Newsom becomes the nominee, I'm going to get on this microphone every day I can and say, somebody please run against him. Because let's get real. If Gavin Newsom is who the establishment wants to run the country, again, CNN, MSNBC, and every other news outlet, probably excluding the BBC, the Young Turks in this country, the Majority Report with Sam Cedar, Progressive, and any other progressive outlet, is going to say, what? I mean, I'm sitting here right now thinking, that's who they're saying we should have. Gavin Newsom. Because it's going to happen. Because corporate media is not going to prop up a progressive unless they get a weak progressive to prop up. If they get like a Camila Jayapal saying she'll run for office, they'll prop her up. Because she knows if they bring in, they'll prop her up. She'll get to a presidential debate and get bulldozed by somebody like Ron DeSantis, who honestly is probably going to be the Republican nominee for president. And this is why I have to say, at some point, man, this is my point. I know why CNN has to have corporate sponsors, because and MSNBC and Fox News, they have to have corporate sponsors. So they have to give you this corporate garbage, because otherwise they won't exist. That's why they get to pay Rachel Maddow and Keith Olbermann and Chris Matthews these like $1 million contracts, because they have to. Because you're not going to just wake up one day and all of a sudden everything's going to change. No, they have to keep funneling in the money from these corporations in order to pay their news anchors. And when they pay their news anchors, they're basically paying them to say, shut the fuck up, do the safe stories that we put into your prompter, and that's what you're going to say. Because honestly, they couldn't do what I'm doing right here. They couldn't sit here and talk off the cuff. Because I will say this is the Opinionated Bitch. I don't have a prompter being told what to say. You can tell, obviously, by the way that I'm speaking on here. But I don't have a teleprompter. What I have is I have a sheet of paper taped to a box. I'm really low budget. With a list of facts on it. That's why when I was reading you those brands, that's what I was reading from. But the rest of this, all the rest of what I'm talking about, that's coming off the top of my head. I'm not sitting here with an earpiece and having somebody tell me what I'm supposed to say on mic. And that's honestly why, in some ways, some people may hate this. Others love this. I love the people who love this, because I couldn't do that reading down a teleprompter shit. Because honestly, it makes it smarter for me to have to come off the cuff. Because what it does is it forces me to search up the important facts, put those on a piece of paper, and then from there, I spin off to talk about what I need to talk about for a certain topic. But you ask Chris Matthews to do what I'm doing right now, and he couldn't fucking do it. Because they're told, actually, they don't even know. They don't rehearse. On corporate news, they're reading from a teleprompter, which means they're not smart. I remember one time hearing about how Wolf Blitzer was on Jeopardy and couldn't answer a single fucking question. And went into the negative category because Wolf Blitzer's not a smart man. He's someone who can read. It's almost like news anchors are put into, I'm going to use an old reference here, but they're put into the Sarah Palin way of doing the news, which is you can read a teleprompter, just read the teleprompter, and tell the people literally what's on the prompter, have very little commentary, because of course all of your commentary that you have is all corporate based. That's why whenever you see Bernie Sanders or AOC or any other progressive on Fox News, CNN, MSNBC sit there and talk, they get bashed. Or they get put into this way. I remember seeing on CNN somebody interviewing Bernie Sanders about Kyrsten Sinema becoming an independent. And they honestly did 10 minutes on this. And it's like, really? There's actual shit going on in the world. And you're going to talk about, for 10 minutes, you're going to have one of the most intelligent politicians we have in this system. And you're going to get him to go on there and talk about some bullshit about Kyrsten Sinema leaving the Democratic Party to become an independent? Man, fuck you. Like, I would say this. I would love to go on one of these networks. Because the minute I did, it'd be the last time I'd be asked on. Because I would bulldoze them with facts. Because all of their facts are to protect the status quo. All of my facts that I give you here are so that I can help the American people, including myself. Because it's not like I'm immune from this shit. I'm in this system. Like, I'm paying taxes like all of you are. So I see how it is. And I see when politicians are sitting there trying to say that they're going to help the American people, and they're not going to at all. Or if they get elected in, they're going to be like weak politicians. Like, I would say, honestly, I've said that I wanted her to be president before on this same show, but AOC is a weak politician. Because she will sit there and be a justice warrior on Twitter, but when it comes down to voting, will vote against the interests of people. An example I can say of that is how AOC was talking about how the rail workers should get their paid sick time off, and then when it came down to a vote, she voted for them to go back to work without getting their paid time off. It's gross. It's not something that somebody who's supposed to be a fighter of the people should be doing. You're going to fight for the people, fight for the people. Don't just do this shit on Twitter to make all of us happy. If you're going to fight for us, fucking fight for us. Oh boy. Well, as I bring this to a close, I will say, if you've heard me ranting and raving for what's going to be a half an hour now, and you still think that you're going to go on CNN, you're going to go on Fox News, you're going to go on MSNBC, and you're going to find out the right choice for president, the right choice for Congress, the right choice for Senate. I mean, when I talk about Congress, I mean the House. I don't know what to say to you. Because what I do with the Opinionated Bitch is I come in with facts and I try and educate the people. That's all I can fucking do. And with that being said, this is the Opinionated Bitch. I am your drag queen host, Prince Electro Diamond, and I hope you've enjoyed.